day so far?
Yes.
Have you enjoyed the talks and the speeches and the panel? It's been brilliant, hasn't it? I've really enjoyed it. It's nice to be out in the open again for after COVID. So, good afternoon. My name's Amy Wilds. I'm Chief Commercial Officer of North Coders. And I just wanted to start by discussing the elephant in the room, which is my elephant. So put your hands up if you enjoy public speaking. Oh, one! Come over here and do it for me. No, I'm joking. You don't have to. There's not very many people that enjoy public speaking, so I'm going to be really open and honest. I am petrified about today. This is a long time since I've stood in front of an audience and spoke to people. It's about 13 years, in fact. Next slide, Ella. I've got an assistant here. Again, these are some of the responses that my team gave me when I asked them to stand in my position today. After I'd kind of said that I'd do this and then changed my mind and said, I just can't do it. And so I went to my team and I asked the question, will you do this speech for me? And this was the response. I would rather pee on my own face rather than public speak is my personal favourite. Thanks, B. So I feel that I needed to kind of like caveat that today, and I feel that I've done that quite thoroughly. So if I'm rubbish, I've already preempted you for that, so bear with me. So today I wanted to talk about telling the truth and the value in authentic leadership, so here goes. So my route into tech was not the most traditional of routes, and I'm going to go into a bit of my history, not because I want to make it the Amy show, but I just think some of the experiences that I've been through as a woman, as a manager, as a leader, have led me to where I am today and how I like to think that I'll lead the team. So my work life, or my working life, started when I was a teenager, like everybody's, working part-time, and I worked part-time in a bakery. And I knew as soon as I started working that work life was for me. So I wasn't an academic student. I enjoyed school to a certain extent, but I wasn't academic. I was more practical, and I knew that work was for me, and that's where I wanted to be. So I had signs of intelligence and common sense, but really fell down on the academic side. And I knew that I also wanted to leave home as soon as possible, not because home was bad, but just because I was independent and I wanted to go and move. So I also had those part-time jobs at school. I also worked for Swizzle's Sweet Factory. So who's heard of Swizzle's Sweet Factory? Everybody, yay! So I used to clean Swizzle's Sweet Factory, and I used to clean that as my part-time job at night time whilst I was at school, and thought, could I stay here? And the answer was no, because a life of eating Parma violets and love hearts is no good for the waistline or the dentistry. So I was like, right, this is not for me. What do I need to do? Where do I need to go? So I left school at 16, like everybody, and I managed to secure a job at the Child Support Agency as an admin assistant. So that was my first job. And as B will tell you, I am spectacularly bad at admin. So that didn't work out too well. Still am today, aren't I, B? She's like, I say B a lot because she's like my right-hand woman. She's absolutely brilliant. So I went to the Child Support Agency. I went there, found out that I was bad at admin, and I ended up leaving. So I was like, right, what do I want to do now? I know, I'm going to go travelling, because travelling's cool, right? Everyone's going travelling and gap years and stuff. I'd not had a gap year. So I was like, right, I'm going to go on this massive European extravaganza. I'm going to 2 years road trip, and it's going to be the most amazing thing I've ever done. And I got to the Costa del Sol. That was my first stop, and I ended up staying there for 2 years and working in the kitchen. So the extravaganza wasn't really an extravaganza, but I loved it. It was a high-pressure, kind of stressful environment. And I had a great time there. It was a great 2 years, and it worked for me. But whilst I was there, I was kind of like thinking to myself, do I want to be here? Is Spain the place for me? And the answer was no. There was a language barrier. I could speak a bit of slang, but I couldn't write it, and I also couldn't read Spanish. So I came home and I was like, right, you need to go and get yourself a proper job. So I came home, had multiple jobs at that time. I worked in a call centre. I was a waitress. I worked behind bars. I worked for a travel agency at one point. I also trained as a croupier. Let me tell you, that is not glamorous at all. There is no James Bond wandering around in a tuxedo. There's no glitzy glam dresses. There's no £100 tips. It's really, really long hours. And if people lose at your table, you get spat at. And that's real life. Just letting you know what life of a croupier is like there. So I came back and I did those few jobs, and I was like, right, okay, go and get yourself a proper job now. You're a grown-up, you're an adult, go and get yourself a career. So I did, and I landed what I thought at the time was a dream job as a fast-track manager for an estate agency. Okay, so on my first day at this job, got myself down there, got myself in my car, and I was like, right, it's my first day in this new job, and I was super excited, and I'd been and bought myself a really snazzy suit from Tesco at the time, and I'd bought myself, cringe, a briefcase, but I had, and I was like, this is so exciting. And I phoned my mum and dad, and I was like, Mum, Dad, I've made it. You know, my dad was a builder, my mum was a cleaner. I was like, I am a businesswoman now, I'm going to work, and I've got a suit and everything. And I went down to this estate agency chain, and I walked in there, and there was just hundreds of tables and hundreds of people. And the phones were ringing, and people were shouting, and there was paper everywhere. There was a bell being rung, and it was just absolute bedlam. It was a little bit like the Wolf of Wall Street, but in Withington. So not quite. Close, but no cigar, right? Anyway, so I walked into this chain. I was full of the enthusiasm of my first day of work, and I sought out this manager. And this manager, I'd been told, was meant to be the best in the business. So I was learning from the best. So I sought her out. I was like, there she is. And I walked up to her, and I was like, hi, I'm Amy. Nice to meet you. It's my first day at work. And she looked at me as if I'd just basically stepped in dog dirt as I walked through this office. And she looked at me and she went, and I was like, oh, okay. And I'm kind of like looking to the left and I'm looking to the right and I'm thinking, somebody reassure me. Give me some reassurance. And everyone was like busy on the phone going, not my problem, mate, you know. So I was like, oh, well, I'm here for my first day. What do you want me to do? Where do you want me to go? Where do you want me to start? And she was like, well, there's no desks for you. So grab yourself a diary and grab yourself a phone and go and sit on the stairs. So I was like, oh, okay, because I didn't know any better, right? So I grabbed this phone, and it was before mobile telephones, so it was a landline phone, and like dragging this wire through the office, and everyone's looking at me like I'm a weirdo. And I got my little diary, and on the stairs I went and sat, and I spent 3 months sat on those stairs while people were climbing up and down to get to the toilet in the kitchen, with this diary of telephone numbers, phoning people trying to get the house on the market. And that was like my baptism into the working world. And then I went on from that to have my own estate agency. And in that time that I was there, I learned everything of how not to manage people. I learned everything about how to not run a business. And it gave me loads of experience, but I didn't realise it at the time because it was miserable. But at the time, it gave me loads of good stuff. So then fast forward a little bit. Straight after that, I went and worked as an account manager. Now, this was my dream job. And everybody said to me that I wouldn't get this job, including the recruiter. And he was like, I'm not putting you forward for this job. And I was like, you put me forward for this job, I can get it. And I did. And I went and worked as an account manager for Finnair, which is the national airline of Finland. It's not a hair replacement product or an air conditioning company. There's lots of people who used to ask me back in the day. It was the national airline of Finland. And it was absolutely brilliant. The management was brilliant. The directors were brilliant. The culture was amazing. And it really opened my eyes to how you can be open and authentic and kind in business and still succeed, because I'd not experienced that in my experiences. So it really helped me shape my understanding at that time of what really bad looked like, but what really good looked like at the same time. So fast forward a few years and a few more career cycles and a few more bad management, good companies, bad companies. And 20 years later, I'm here today. Hi, again, in this tech space. And the tech space is absolutely brilliant. We all know it is, and we all love it and adore it. And what I wanted to talk to you about was my experiences have firmly led me to believe that you can be all those things. You can be kind, you can be authentic, you can tell the truth and be a leader and still be successful. And I'm going to go into that now, so bear with me. There's a point to all this. So we're all in tech, and we all know that tech is not 9 to 5. We don't have the liberty or the luxury, or presumably most of you, of where you get to shut your laptop at the end of the day and you go home and you forget about it. It's not a Monday to Friday. You know, sometimes we have to work weekends and sometimes we have to be available at night time. We have systems, and behind those systems are people, us, and we have to be available. And with that comes a different set of demands on our teams and our staff that we have to ask them to do. And in the case of North Coders, so I don't know whether any of you know about North Coders, but we are 6 years old and we are what I would like to call an established startup. So we're in a period of absolute massive growth, and with that come a different set of demands, and I have to lead my team in a different way. So talking about those experiences that I've been through in the past and talking about North Coders and talking about being open, honest and vulnerable in business, let's discuss what vulnerable in business is. So Ella, slide. Thank you. So if you Google what is vulnerability in business, you'll be given all these wonderful things: risk management and intrusion detection. But I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the good stuff, the human side, the human element. So if I start with a statement about me and about my leadership style and about my presenting style, I'm sometimes really weak in business, and I sometimes fail, and I sometimes make mistakes. I have my strengths, but I also have my weaknesses. And traditional leadership styles and the way that I experience my career path and journey, and the training that I undertook as management training as well, would have you feel, or people feel, that you can only ever show strength and that you can't show weak and that you can't show vulnerability and you can't tell the truth. And the reason that they would have you think that is because they're frightened. It's a fear element. So the fear would be, if you're open and honest and vulnerable with your team or your superiors, that there would be a lack of trust in you. And the company needs to show that we're strong and that we're unified. And then, or else otherwise people will panic and lose confidence in you and they'll leave and people won't buy from you and people won't sell to you and it'll just be this horrific situation. But I don't believe in that. I believe there's real strength in being vulnerable and being weak and being honest with your teams. Now, as a human, we make mistakes all the time. And sometimes those mistakes can be from a strategic perspective. So it can be a mistake that we make in business that affects our bottom line and our profits. But other times we can make mistakes that affect our team in a really, really personal way. So you've probably all been in an experience at work where a decision from upper management or from leadership has meant that you felt really bad about it and it's affected your confidence. And in sometimes, some really bad cases, it can affect people's mental health. And we don't want to do that. We don't want to do that at all. So what we need to do, in my opinion, is talk to about our team, hold our hands up where we've made those mistakes, tell the team we've made those mistakes before we've made those mistakes, before they find out. So if I refer back to a personal story of mine, a few weeks ago I made a mistake with one of my team members, and she came to me and she told me that she'd felt that I'd not had her back in a certain situation and that I'd not stood up for her and I wasn't protecting her. And she was absolutely right. I hadn't. I'd not on purpose, but naively, I'd not had her back. And she was really devastated about it, and so was I. So she came to me and we had this discussion, but what we both got from that open discussion was the opportunity to talk about it, resolve the issue, and I apologised, and we got a load of learning from it. We were able to move on from it. So we had this really open and authentic conversation, and I know that I won't make that same mistake again. Okay, so if we talk about how these open and authentic and honest conversations can benefit us as a business, so if referring to the journey that we've been through and this period of massive growth that we're going through at the same time, I feel if I'd not led my team in a really open and honest way previously, if I'd not talked to them about weaknesses on my part, would those team members on my team feel that they could come and talk to me if they'd made a mistake, for example? And the cost of making mistakes and then not talking about it and addressing it is a financial cost as well. There's a financial burden there as well. So the fact that my team can talk to me and come and admit when there's been a business mistake that's been made, we can just rectify it really quickly and move on without having the faff of finding out and then going through this massive drama. Another benefit to the business is when I need my team to go above and beyond of their 9 to 5 and their Monday to Friday, and I need them to go above and beyond what their job description is, because they trust in me and because we can have those open and honest dialogues and we can be authentic together, they're prepared to do it. So they're prepared to go above and beyond, and they're prepared to go above and beyond because there's trust, there's mutual trust. That's why they'll do it. And when they do it, they're actually happy to do it as well. Another benefit to the business is I know where my skills gaps lie on my team. So as a company that's gone from 25 staff to 79 staff in the nearly 2 years that I've been there, this is absolutely crucial. And because we've created that open and honest environment, our team members are open with us about where their weaknesses are. And because of that, it saves us time in getting to the place where we're trying to figure out where people's weaknesses are. And the benefits of that are twofold. Those individuals can either upskill if they want to, or when we're recruiting, which I'm having to do at the minute in a massive way, I know exactly where the skills gaps are on my team. So because we're all open and honest about our failings, every time I recruit, I know where the pain points are, and I can go out and I can find an individual that fits that pain point in my team to make sure that I've got a really circular, fully skilled team. Now, another benefit of being open and honest and authentic is we get buy-in, and we get people that work on our team, our colleagues. We have a great culture at North Coders, and we have a great culture because we are open and honest and authentic. And again, the trust is there and it's two-way. And that all goes towards building a great culture. And because we're doing the right things, the team feel motivated. They feel valued, they feel happy, and therefore they stay with us longer. And what happens when people stay with us longer? It saves us a load of money. So I'm talking about cynical business benefits here with actual kind of like personality and feeling. If people are happy, they stay with us longer, saves us a load of money in recruitment fees, saves us a load of money in training people up for months and months and months. That could take 6 up to 12 months, depending on your business. So there's a cost saving there, the bottom line. And to me, that all adds to a growth mindset. So for us, as I've just mentioned, we're growing in a massive, 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 massive way. We have to have a growth mindset, and we have to be open and authentic and honest. And sometimes we make those mistakes. Sometimes we don't. Sometimes it's all lovely and everything's calm and wonderful. But a lot of the time it's chaos. But if we're not open about it, people won't trust us. We won't be happy, and it'll affect our bottom line. But it's not just all about me. These are some of the people on my team. And as I was saying, it's grown so much I've not even had a chance to take the photograph yet. But this is some of my team. So it's not all about the profit. It's not all about the bottom line. It's about these people. And some of them are sat there today. Thank you. And that's me. I'm done. Thanks for listening.